for having us. It's been a great privilege for us to occupy the same space. Despite living in Japan for a while, it's really my first Tobajo event. It's my first Tokyo poetry event in many ways, because that big reading that we did, the Japan-UK exchange, was really a kind of a special event rather than an annual continued one. So I really feel it's the first time I'm meeting so many people, so I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. So I will be reading, but also Priya will be reading, and so I'll begin, and then at some point I'll call on Priya to introduce herself. But I'm Corey, been living in Tokyo for a year now, and lived in Kobe for 7 years before that. I'm from Australia, but I was actually born in the UK, and there are all sorts of strange crossovers that I'm experiencing with people since I moved to Tokyo. So maybe Tokyo is that sort of interzone, that sort of entrepot. Maybe that's what's the best of all things about a city like this. Okay, so I'm going to begin with a poem from my next collection, Debts of the Robots. And I want to start with the opening poem. I'm going to be reading some bilingual poems, reading some poems with Japanese interweaved and in English, because that's the way it's become for me. It's an organic process, one that I find myself having problems resisting. This one is what language? Let's find out. It's called The Rings, ending in a line by Martin Johnston. If you don't know the Australian poet Martin Johnston, he's a really striking poet. I recommend him. Died too young. 3 rows of equidistant west-facing hills, melted into bright mudslide, much like the allergies of spirit, fermenting in pens encompassed by pine lattices. A grand scheme into light, metrically restrained to the administrative extraction quadrant. Preference for Euclid, one bullfrog bleats a static, heated forecast. Watermelon thunders as it splits, crackles open. Tsunami or typhoon aside, the splintering data demon protrudes, snakes, winds, and coils. Like Mukade, death throes. The intorsions of a super sparkler in summer. The Olympics are thick with long covered fog. Blurring the run and the throw, delaying the starting gun, raising a filmy red semaphore haloed in aura, whose sourceless lamp emanates from a deliberate invisible mesh. From the fires of failure, some hobbled self-mirage where I see 5 airplane fuselages adopted as telescopes, through which to see you looking through me at the mirror in which a whole city teeters. Athens rings like irises. Anticlimactic cul-de-sac querying the idea that Martin Johnston's register has an informal destination in a literary second language. Resting on a Greek particle lozenge, buoyed by uncommonly staccato Aegean. The cruise ships. Elephantine retirement floating on a sky city salt afloat. The cruise ships. Drunk by 11. Though he would deploy the word appalled, that generosity meant he would still have extracted the Bohemian, or better, Hedron, jewel from all this white translucent sparkle. Skin white shimmers at distance, just as well as the foam of an inland sea. What counts is Orpheus's premature retirement, the money. His accidental septicemia, or faceplant on cottony snow. Mirages all. Vestiges of song unstuck from oceanic shipping lines. Martin Johnston would have said, yes, take it from me. A visiting medium without notebook or a client. They live for a voyeur at a broken mirror. Next poem I'd like to read is a poem I had the privilege of sharing, in a sense, but in a different format, with Celia Ree, whom you just heard. I'd like to read the extended version of what I used to collaborate with her. We pieced a collaboration together on. This is the longer version of what I've called Toketsubetsu Surutame, to have done with. 月光を浴びねばならないと言えるでしょう。 Perhaps it should be said that you must bathe in twilight. 真鍮の洞窟はとうとう溢れ At last the caves of the self's interior are brimming. 伏流水逆さまの己が漏洩していく Aquifers, the reverse self there begins to disclose. 神数力 divine power, to have 決別するため to have done with divine power, like some species of crab, like some species of Antoninato, ある種のカニ、ある種のアントナン、あるとのごとく。演技、omen, おかつくこと、哀れなほど。To believe in omens miserably, like some species of maggot, August Strindberg, like some species of August Strindberg, ある種のウジ虫、ある種のオガスト、ソルンベリのごとき。言霊、ロゴアルケミに呆れ果てる伝達ため。To be transmission dumbfounded by logo alchemy, like some species of pigeon, like some species of Jack Spicer, ある種の鳩、ある種のジャック・スパイスのごとし。ハモもイチゴ、エビもイチゴ。ハモもイチゴ、エビもイチゴ。Both prawn and eel alike have but one life. Both prawn and eel alike have but one life. を実感することは一期一会の遭遇である。To really feel both prawn and eel have but one life is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter, like some species of cat, like some species of 萩原作太郎、ある種の猫、ある種の萩原作太郎のごとき。わざと自給自足 deliberately self-sufficient 捉えどころのないサボテンのような言葉を栽培したりする cultivating the evasive cactus-like word せっかく自暴自棄がよみがえる self-abandonment went to the effort of being revived Wakeling系の3代で chose to take 3 generations of Wakelings 海辺を見に行く日帰りにOn a day trip to travel to see the seaside, 逗子の海岸を選んであげたなんて。逗子 of all places. 狐つきにならないように、狐の読み入りを除くべからずと。In the same way as it is said that in order not to be possessed by a fox spirit, glance not at a sun shower. と言われる同様に、うさぎつきということになるよ。Regarding becoming possessed by a rabbit spirit, 月光を浴びねばならないと言えるんでしょう。Perhaps it should be said that you must bathe in twilight. 真鍮の洞窟はとうとう溢れ、at last the caves of the self's interior are brimming. 伏流水、逆さまの己が漏洩していく。Aquifers, a reverse self there begins to disclose. Next, I'd like to read a poem from the Roman, which I published exactly 10 years ago. So it's a sort of strange anniversary to be celebrating here. A book that I published in Australia and launched at Collected Works bookstore in Melbourne, sort of the heartland of Australian poetry, which closed, I think, in 2021 or so, 2020. So this is it's bittersweet in the memories, I suppose. This poem's called Cryptomeria. Far more cryptonesia these days. May it be born then in the chrysalis of remembrances, the good forgetting forgotten, running his hands through aquita fur. Of acres of shivering, fibrillating ice figures, of the iodine poisoned, anodized, Glade Lane in a country of cryptomeria. Maybe I'll read one more. This is a Perth poem. Black Swans. A meeting with white hair today, said to be lunacy. Blue swimming pools murmur unknowing. Not knowing a thing about albumin, yolk. White hair struts atop a pulled Swede turnip. Your black soil fertile like August. This Rosello of science can fluctuate between Harvard and New York City, even wading through the swamp. The same playlist from 2004 clutches your ears as ears clutch necks, which is their custom. Beckon back to indecision, not to be spoken to, speak avidly instead to white hair. Blue nightingales, for example, intimate to and then retain you. Now, however, black swans are no longer indigenous to Perth. They throttle the fold of your ear, tear it. Nostalgic forgery Exeter is a lesson. Breaststroke through swampland, it could all have been swampland, were it not for the hermit on the roof of a hut on the hard and silent sea. Stranded anemia, swinging dumbbells of glass, waving to nobody, this flotsam, as if on a train metropolis outbound. Anemia's umbilicus, being an earphone between ear and quaking earth. A death memorial awaits his hearing's return to the heat amongst the pampas and its whistle.